I'm actually a veteran. I was in the Illinois Army National Guard for 9 years. It's disgusting. They shouldn't be mobilized. They shouldn't be here. And there shouldn't be political pawns in Trump's game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is really what this all is. At the end of the day, this is some kind of weird freaking game that the President of the United States is playing with people's lives.
You want to see what real independent journalism funded by the people for the people looks like?
You ever heard a story like this in America?
You're looking at it.
Congratulations for always being somewhere where mainstream media is not.
Flint, Michigan.
See you in Nevada.
Thanks to people like you, we can get the truth. Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people.
You are the man. I'm glad you're here.
For as low as 16 cents a day, you'll keep us on the ground, covering the important stories the corporate media covers up.
All right, I've been starting every interview with the same question, which is, why did you feel compelled to be out here tonight?
Just out here standing in solidarity, you know. I mean, everyone should be out here, in my opinion, right? We're standing against what's been happening with the ICE agents and these just abductions across the city. I mean, now across the state, right? Like, and yeah, I mean, we're fighting tyranny here, unfortunately, right? I was reminded today that this is not the first time we've seen this, right? Internment camps are in America's history, you know, and you know, I'm from the south side of Chicago. Kicking in doors and pulling people out their beds is in the history of Chicago Police Department. It's in the history of our city. But we should all be standing whenever this occurs. And so I'm just out here standing in solidarity with people who are being endangered. We're all being endangered, but especially those who are being impacted directly, you know, and I feel like it's the least I can do.
J.B. Pritzker has expressed that he does not want the National Guard deployed here in Chicago. Trump's going to do it anyway. When you heard that news, what was your reaction?
I'm actually a veteran. I was in the Illinois Army National Guard for 9 years. It's disgusting. We don't need militarization of our streets. Of the many things we need, we don't need ICE in our streets, right? I can name a million things we need: resources, money. None of it has to do with officers. None of it has to do with anything with a badge or a gun. We don't need more violence in our city, right? And being brought by the federal government. Like, I was actually at an event in the 40th Ward today, community defense workshop, and we all learned about this National Guard deployment while we were, you know, there. I was with, you know, a group of folks, and it's, I mean, the only word I can really think is disgusting, but it's just another step in this, you know, this reign of terror that he's trying to bring in Illinois with his, you know, vindictiveness and pettiness, and this reign of terror he's trying to bring to Chicago, and we have to stand against it. You know what I'm saying? Every twist and turn, everybody. And so, kind of going back to what we just talked about, that's why I'm here. You know, lend my voice, lend my face, lend my body to stand for people who may not be able to stand for themselves in this moment, or people who are afraid to. And we have people across the city who are afraid to leave their homes. And so, you know, I can leave my home, and if I come here and have to put my body on the line to defend my neighbors, be my brothers and sisters keeper, to me, that's a small price to pay. So I'm here for it.
I want to ask about that history that you have with the National Guard, that perspective. Does that background, I mean, do you see a mission for the National Guard that is warranted here in the city of Chicago? Like, is the National Guard prepared to deal with a moment like this in the way that Trump is attempting to use them?
No, absolutely not. I don't think so. When I was in the National Guard, we, following Hurricane Katrina, we patrolled New Orleans streets. You know, if you remember, after the hurricane, everyone left, including first responders. And we were, you know, the safety there. That is what the National Guard should be doing, right? In moments of great disaster, to help uplift, empower, protect Americans if necessary. Not coming to bring further fear and violence and terror. You know, like, what are they? No. I mean, I can't imagine. What are they going to do? They're going to help ICE? Are they going to, what? They're going to come and beat up protesters? Like, what are they going to do? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I think very exceptionally, we're talking about a voluntary military force that now has to look their neighbors in the face and take action against them. That's a lot to ask. And that's, you know, it's I don't have an answer. I don't have a conclusion. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I'm not in that situation. I know that, you know, we're hearing this constant discussion about these National Guardsmen saying no, right? But it's very easy to ask someone to put their life on the line and maybe do some time in jail, you know what I'm saying, versus doing what they're told to do. And I get it. It's very complicated. There's no clear answers, but the clearest answer is they shouldn't be mobilized. They shouldn't be here. And there shouldn't be political pawns in Trump's game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is really what this all is. At the end of the day, this is some kind of weird freaking game that the President of the United States is playing with people's lives.
If your community here in the Chicago area, if it doesn't need the National Guard, it doesn't need ICE deployment, all of this expenditure of resource, what does it need? Where could this money go? How could it help actually serve you, your neighbors, your family?
Come on, man. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. Yeah. I'm a former school teacher. Schools, mental health, alternative response to the police, because Chicago has a real problem with our Chicago Police Department, right? Physical health. I can think of a million things, right? We actually have a alternative Chicago care teams, right? They're so lowly funded. It's only in parts of the city and only for a certain number of hours, dealing with mental health response. How about we fully fund that program? Then I can think of a million other programs. My community doesn't have a medical center. I live in Inglewood of any kind. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a mental health facility of any kind. Like, bro, I can think of a million things to do with that money.
Yeah. So if you took that money, if you took the money that was here in Broadview, maintaining the security presence here, maintaining this facility here that everyone is out here protesting, took that and you turned it into even one mental health facility, even one community care facility, the good that it could do in people's lives versus the bad is what you're saying, right?
CPS right now is talking about like our windfall, or, you know, the money that we need. The city is talking about the money they need. Like, it's a comical question, because I literally, if we sat down together, I could come up with at least 50 things, right?
50 ideas, 50 better uses for this money off the top of your head. At
least 50. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't even know how much money is being spent here, but we got ISP out here. Broadview keeps coming through, and you got those ICE agents, you got that building. I mean, come on now. This is ridiculous. And I keep saying, right, and this needs to be said more, this is unsustainable. And it's untenable, right? Whether these people are out here every single night, we can't do this for the next 3 years. And whether they come out here cracking people's heads every single night, we can't do this for the next 3 years. So the reality is this. Pritzker needs to be doing something. All the elected officials that are impacted, both in Broadview and the city, need to be doing something. We should all be out here together and, like, bring out a card table and let them figure out what we're going to do. But we need some real strong responses, not just talk, not just like, oh yeah, you know, go out there and do your First Amendment rights while they shoot tear gas and pepper balls at you and then come back out and do it tomorrow. Like, it's unfortunate, you know?
We've seen the role that Illinois State Police have played, that Broadview City Police have played in a lot in crowd management. We've seen them shove and arrest protesters as well. I mean, do you want that? We've also heard, I mean, under Illinois state law, they're not supposed to be aiding ICE anyway. Do you see this as aiding ICE, and do you want leaders to take away the police presence? It's a difficult question, but I put it to you.
I was saying to someone earlier that perception is reality, right? And to the protesters, they are perceiving the state police and Broadview as aiding ICE. And that's a problem. If that's reality, it doesn't really matter. Because when they go home, they saying that some state police officer pushed me down, shoved me, maybe arrested me. When I arrived here, I saw 4 or 5 protesters. When they pushed everyone away from the fence and they cleared the street, protesters were arrested. And they were arrested by ISP. So when those people, if they're released, come back out and they go home tonight, what are they going to tell their friends? Right? That's reality. I think, and I don't know what kind of reporting ultimately you do. There needs to be far more context drawn on the fact that not only is this happening in Chicago, it's happening in other places. And you start to hear that argument that when you look at where this is happening, it tend to be blue states with black mayors. And there is something real to that, right? Let's just, like, keep it simple. We know Trump has, let's say, some undercurrent of racism in his actions and behaviors, right? And he's also very vindictive, right? He obviously doesn't like Pritzker because Pritzker has refused to bow down and kiss the ring. He obviously doesn't like Brandon Johnson because I will use, like, as my grandfather would use that old school term, he's uppity, right? He's not going to bow down and kiss the ring. And so he's brought these people to try to whip us into submission. And the one thing we know about Chicago is Chicago don't get whipped into submission, right? That's reality. In the end, we will, you know, we will yell, we will scream, we'll do it in a manner that's nonviolent, as these people are. But we'll, I mean, if we have to come out here every day, we will, right? But I hate to say it's silly or stupid, but this is not about safety. Taking, you know, when these people are being abducted, right? They're being abducted on their ways to work. They're being abducted at work. They're being abducted at schools. You know what? I grew up in the South Side of Chicago. I've met some hardcore criminals in my day. I can't remember the last one that had like a 9-to-5 job and was going to school. It's stupid. It's frustrating, and this has nothing to do about safety.